Okay. A man named Lord Balfour once said, "A good speech, like a woman's skirt, should be long enough to cover the subject and short enough to create interest." So I hope that's what I am able to do today. My name is Lacey Whitaker, and today I'd like for you guys to get to know a little bit more about me by telling you some interesting things about myself. I'm a survivor, I'm prior military, and I married my very best friend. So when I was 3 years old, it was Easter morning, and my dad sent me downstairs to get my brother. When I got down there, I saw that he was across the street talking to a stranger, and everybody knows that's a no-no. So I started yelling for him to come back across the street, and like a big brother, he ignored me. So I decided to take my 30-pound self, march across the street, and bring him back home. So I looked both ways, and I started to walk across the street, and all of a sudden, a black Jeep came barreling down the hill. Turned out it was a pastor and his son who was late for church, and they didn't see me and hit me head on. I hit the hood, the windshield, before he finally slammed on his brakes, and I went face first into the concrete. I ended up with a cracked skull, a broken pelvis, and internal bleeding. The worst of it was the broken pelvis, because I had to learn to walk again. I don't remember too much about being in the hospital, but I do remember the first time I walked by myself. I stood up and scooted myself from the bed to the bathroom just by my toes. Obviously, I've made a full recovery and don't have any lasting injuries. Next, I am prior military. I joined the military in 2006 and got out in 2013. I originally joined the military because I wanted to go to school and I wanted someone else to pay for it. When I did my paperwork, I thought it was for 3 years, but my mistake, it was accidentally for 6. So I can chalk up being in the military as a life experience, but I hated every second of it, and I am so glad that it is over with. Finally, I am married to my very best friend. Now, I know that's a cliche because everybody says they're married to their best friend, but I actually met my husband Daniel when we were both in the 8th grade. We became friends, and then when we got into high school, we became better friends and then best friends. Secretly, both had feelings for each other, but I mean, who's going to come out and be the first one to say it? You know, you're afraid to ruin a friendship that way. So in 11th grade, he switched schools, and I moved states, and we lost touch. Over the years, though, I never forgot about him, and I kept looking for him. I always wondered what had happened to him. And I would Google him, I would MySpace him, and I would Facebook him, and nothing ever came up. And finally, in 2014, I Googled him, and there was his name. Now, over these years, every single person named Daniel Whitaker in the world got a message from me asking if he was my best friend from high school. So in 2014, when I finally found him, it was probably one of the best days of my life. We got married in 2015, and now I can say that I get to travel the whole world with my very best friend. So if you hear a story about somebody who was hit by a car and lived to tell about it, somebody who hates being in the military, which I'm sure you know, or somebody who married their high school best friend, just remember that you know somebody else like that. That's me. I'll leave you with one final thought. As you start each day, remember 2 things. 1, when you look in the mirror, know that that person is your greatest competition. And number 2, always love yourself like Kanye loves Kanye. Thanks.